Hey Shakers, and welcome to Worth Your Salt, the podcast that shakes up your marketing game in the health and wellness industry. Worth Your Salt is brought to you by Salt Marketing. Salt Marketing helps health and wellness practitioners build trust and authority to attract a steady stream of inbound wellness seekers. For more information, you can visit us online at saltmarketing.co. I'm Jennifer Orechwa, StoryBrand Certified Guide, Marketing Strategist with Salt Marketing, and your host for today's episode of Worth Your Salt. Today, we're diving into the world of generative AI, a game changer that's really revolutionizing industries left and right. If you're an entrepreneur or a health and wellness practitioner, this is something you definitely want to pay attention to. Imagine unlocking new levels of efficiency, boosting client engagement, and staying a step ahead of your competition, all thanks to the power of AI. So trust me, you don't want to miss out on what this technology can do for your practice. To make all of this a lot more accessible, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. Many years ago, Arvell Craig helped me implement my very first chatbot on my website. He helped make that AI tool super approachable and exciting, engaging clients, and help me achieve my goals. Today, Arvell is a nationally recognized speaker and a total rock star in the AI world. His new book, The AI Strategy Playbook, 21 Marketing Plays for Cutting Costs, Increasing Performance, and Speeding Up AI Adoption, is packed with practical tips and strategies. So he's here to bring us all up to speed on how we can integrate AI into our businesses in a way that's not only doable, but incredibly impactful. Arvell is going to help me share how health and wellness practitioners like you can save time, cut costs, and create amazing growth. We're going to talk about specific use cases, easy-to-use tools, and how to stay ahead of the game in this fast-paced tech landscape. So get ready to be inspired and empowered to take your practice to the next level with AI. And Arvell, when you and I were prepping for this interview, and I asked you what you do today, you said you chase shiny objects, but that doesn't even scratch the surface of the knowledge and the insight that you bring to this topic. So I'm honestly thrilled to talk with you today on Worth Your Salt.
Thank you, Jennifer. Glad to be here. Excited about this.
Start out by telling us a little bit about your background and how you developed this expertise in AI.
Sure. Yeah. So I've been a digital marketing kind of consultant, agency owner for a while. I would say 20 years or so. So I've always liked using technology. I've always been creative. I always wanted to help people make money, enjoy their lives. So that's what I've been doing for a long time. And I think I've always had a small team. So I always wanted to kind of, again, not necessarily find a hack, but I needed to be efficient. All right. I needed to find the best tools that could get the most done. And so whenever I look into marketing strategies, it's like, what can I do? How can I get the most use out of my time and energy? And for me, that started with email marketing was one thing that I used to love to do. And that helped me to get an advantage, helped me to streamline having with automation. I could do tons of blasts, but I could also have one-on-one follow-ups and automations. And then when chatbots came out maybe in 2016, 2017. It's like humans online began to communicate differently. And so as humans, we're using like messengers and Snapchat and WhatsApp. Things were changing globally, and business and I guess Facebook and all the larger social media sites began to empower businesses to have automated one-on-one conversations. And so for me, that became a major shift. And I got into chatbots and all the different tools that would do that in 2016, 2017. And that became my focus for a while. And then ChatGPT comes out, and it's like it's breathing a new fresh air into this idea of not just chatbots, but automation. And now with all the intelligence. So that's kind of my background. I use all my marketing and chatbot experience, and I kind of streamlined it into this new world of generative AI, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I sort of feel like I know the answer to the next question I was going to ask, but what inspired you to write the AI Strategy Playbook, and specifically for businesses looking to cut costs, like you're saying, find that hack, that efficiency, so they can increase their performance and speed up that AI adoption?
Yeah. So what was interesting, because I do chase shiny objects and I do nerd out on things, but I'm slowly, because I do a lot of speaking, and I hear people's questions, I'm slowly understanding the gap from people like me who are playing around with new things versus the average business owner who just needs to pay their bills, take care of the fires, and keep the lights on. And in January this year, I began doing weekly Zoom calls to my audience. Hey, let's talk about AI. And every week I would teach something, and I would also ask them questions. And I was always surprised by how few people were paying for ChatGPT Plus. So they didn't know about all the better advancements. They couldn't take photos. They couldn't upload files. They couldn't make custom GPT. So all this stuff that me and all the AI people were doing that were more technical, I realized people just really wanted the basics. So I wrote the book specifically because people would ask me, there's a gap. What can AI do? And so the book was written just to answer that question from a high level And I go through various flavors of what can it do in different areas of business, because again, I realized there was a gap and I really just needed to cover the foundation.
For our audience who might be new to the concept of AI and generative AI, can you explain what it is and how it can be used really as a game changer for businesses?
Sure. So when it comes to what generative AI is, a couple of different ways I want to start off saying that AI is not new, right? It's been around for 50 years. AI has always been like using computers to take massive amount of data and to process and summarize and pretty much predict the behavior of what people are doing. So YouTube and its recommendations, that's AI. Netflix and how it knows what people like, that's AI. When you're using your phone and it tries to guess the next word, that's AI. So we've all been using AI forever. Generative AI, which came out around 2018, is specifically AI that not just predicts the past and tries to guess what's going to happen. It's a way to create something new. And that's what makes it kind of unique. In my mind, I see 4 categories of what generative AI can do for most businesses. It creates or generates content. It creates conversations. It creates counsel, and it also creates code such as software. So those 4 C's are the basics of what I think about. And so for companies that are looking to, again, create content, and that content can be audio, it can be video, it can be written, it can be, different flavors. It can take anything that they've done and replicate it and and streamline it or change it or repurpose it. So the fact that it can create and generate in content, code, conversations, and counsel at scale automatically. Again, we can get into more details. That's kind of the advantage for businesses. And I would say based upon the business's constraint or their bottleneck or where they're stuck. So what I typically will say is, where are you stuck? What are you doing that's good? What opportunities are you not pursuing? And let's see how one of these 4 C's, these 4 flavors of generative AI can help you do something or take advantage of opportunities that you in the past weren't able to take advantage of.
I love that. I love that where are you stuck question. That's brilliant. So your book has also been praised for being very practical and having specific use cases. And within it, you've got 5 different plays that are included. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So the way I structure the book, there's 5 categories that the playbook covers. And there's different ways, to look at a marketing funnel or to look at a customer journey. So the way we lay it out is the planning stage. So if you're planning a marketing campaign, I share different plays that'll help out with that process. There is the production stage where you're actually producing content. The 3rd stage is personalization. One of the things that AI does really uniquely is that if you had masses of content, how could you take and personalize each of those pieces of content for masses of people? So I talk about how to personalize your content. The 4th stage is on promotion. Your content created and personalized and produced. What are different ways you can scale it or maximize the reach to more people? So that's the promotion category. And then lastly, there is the performance category, which is more of the optimization or tracking or reviewing metrics to improve it for future campaigns. So those 5 categories or 5 Ps is how the book is broken out.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And I think a lot of people don't think about personalization. They think about something that's computer generated, can't possibly be personal. So I really like that angle of it. Have you seen business owners within specific industries? How are they leveraging AI? So for example, what advantages might there be for a practitioner in health and wellness?
Yeah, I mean, when I think about health and wellness, again, that's definitely a personal, right? There's a personal experience there. And so, again, you mentioned chatbots in the intro. So again, it depends on the business. So if they're having one-on-one conversations, if there's customer support, if there's onboarding, there are ways that, again, if a health and wellness company is led by a specific person, like that doctor, that personal brand, that coach, that face of the company, you could use AI to replicate the person's voice, whether in written form. They could replicate their physical self. And there could be onboarding videos. So there could be like this personal experience where when a new customer comes on board and they need to understand the basic steps, things they need to fill out, checklists, that whole onboarding process, you can use AI to replicate yourself in a video, assuming you may be too busy. You know, a lot of people don't want to sit in front of a camera for 2-3 hours a day recording video. You could do that once and clone yourself with AI, and then use that clone to create multiple versions of trainings and onboarding and things like that. So that's some things that come to mind. So again, it really just depends on the business and what they need, but that's one of the simplest ones that if they have a good process and practice, I would definitely try to clone it in different forms.
So I'm thinking about our audience, and they're sitting there going, I'm not going to clone myself. I'm not going to replicate myself into an AI robot. So what advice would you give to health and wellness practitioners who they're not sure of the value of this and adopting this AI or generative AI right now, but they don't want to be left behind. They don't want to lose ground to more innovative competitors. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, again, and I definitely understand that sentiment. And again, it isn't for everybody. I mean, I think the biggest thing that if you're uncomfortable or if you're not really familiar with what's going on, I just recommend that you have to commit to at least reading or staying connected to what's happening. Again, the Artificial Intelligence Show is a podcast on AI. It's one of my favorites. It comes out once a week. So I'd say, can you commit to once a week listening to a podcast on AI so that you understand what's happening? Number two, if there's somebody on your team, do you have a marketing person or an assistant or somebody that would be excited and maybe they could spend, not just 1 day a week or 1 hour a week, but maybe spend more time experimenting and playing, and kind of like you want to give your people freedom to be curious and to bring you ideas, right? Because again, the ideas are endless. There's no limit but you need to make sure it's specific to you. So, larger companies may call it an AI council, where they define 2, 3, 4 people who do research and come up with ideas. And I guess the third thing would be, even if you're uncomfortable, I do think you should spend time on ChatGPT at least once a day. As the same way you use Google, you can experiment with trying ChatGPT with that same kind of mindset, just so you can begin to, because you got to get your feet wet. You have to kind of see it to understand what's really possible. So those 3 things I'd recommend someone start with.
All right, Arvell, I'm so intrigued. I have so many more questions. I have to take a quick sponsorship break right now. But when we come back, I want to talk more about the practical uses for AI that can help save us all time and money. We'll be right back. Hey, Salt Nation, if you're a health and wellness practitioner, your time should be spent helping clients, not worrying about marketing. That's why we created Salt Marketing's 6-month Growth Accelerator program, a complete digital marketing solution to scale your practice beyond 6 figures. We start by developing your clear client-focused messaging using the StoryBrand framework. If your website isn't bringing you the traffic and leads and new clients and patients you need, the second thing we do is build out that powerful messaging into a stunning website to help you create raving fans. Third, we'll help you automate your practice to follow up with those leads and almost effortlessly turn them into clients. We'll build custom automations for you that handle lead management and follow-up. And fourth, we leverage our proven inbound content strategy and exceptional SEO to drive organic traffic. Plus, with Salt Marketing's real-time analytics and reporting, you have the insight you need to make smart, data-driven decisions. If you're ready to scale your practice, visit us at saltmarketing.co/growth-accelerator today to learn more and get started. That's saltmarketing.co/growth-accelerator. We'd love to see you grow. I'm back here on the Worth Your Salt podcast with Arvell Craig, author, speaker, strategist, and expert in conversational AI. And we're talking about how you can leverage today's artificial intelligence tools to connect with clients and build trust while saving money and time. So, Arvell, for health and wellness practitioners who are already making 6 or 7 figures, time is incredibly valuable. So what are some common tasks in a practice that AI could help streamline or automate? How can AI help save time on day-to-day operations?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when it comes to day-to-day operations, it's going to help with communication, right? So any way you're communicating, we'll start there. To me, those are the low-hanging fruit. If that leader again creates some type of content for their audience in a mass way, AI can assist with kind of learning their style. So I mentioned the idea of cloning their self physically, which again, I know that's not for everybody. And most people don't want to do that. But I would consider if they were to take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different articles, things that they've written, if they are a writer, there is a way they can take their writings, put it into ChatGPT and say, hey, here's some things I've written in the past. And now I want to write a new article on a new topic. Can you use my style, my tonality, my way of writing, and help me write something on this new topic. So that's a great, simple way to use AI to better communicate in a way that's going to sound like them and feel like them. And it's not going to be perfect. Again, it's going to speed up that process of getting content out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's only one way to use AI. What tools are you already using? Whether it's Photoshop, it's HubSpot, it's Go High Level, it's Keep, there's all these marketing tools you're using. Are you using, Office 365? Are you using Google Apps or Google Workspace? What are you using every day now? And what new AI features do your tools have?
Mm-hmm.
And can you figure out what they do? Because I think that's a simple way to get an advantage with AI with what they're already using on a daily basis, as compared to leaving their current system, logging into a whole new application that's, new and foreign,
Mm-hmm.
to find the AI features in the tools that they're using already now and see how that can help them to move forward. But I did set up some AI into my email. We all deal with email. Email is, but I set up a simple integration into my Gmail account. So when I get emails, I have ChatGPT filter my emails and just say, if it's something I need to see, or if it's something I need to respond to, I have it write a draft response for me already. So it's sitting in my drafts. And if it's something I don't need to see, or if I don't need to respond to it, then archive it. Again, I deal with email all the time. So I'm always looking for, how can AI help me? It can help you process email. It can help you process any type of inbound information. If you're getting text messages, or depending on what platforms you're using, again, that's kind of where I would streamline my recommendations.
You totally have to teach me that. I really want to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
So I also noticed in the book that you talk about increasing engagement with AI. How can we use AI to better engage with our clients?
Yeah, that's a great question. Again, so there's a lot of different marketing platforms. So back towards, what are you already doing? Like, I recently switched and started using Go High Level. And one of the beautiful things that it can do is that it can monitor anybody who comments on my posts on my Instagram or my Facebook. So again, there's a lot of chatbot programs, but the fact that Go High Level is my CRM for choice. It is my landing page system, for webinars, for my email list. But I have set up automations that if somebody comments on my feed, it can reply back to them. And so that's a simple one there that increases engagement, because one of the keys to engagement in any business is going to be speed, right? You're busy. You're not, and you shouldn't be monitoring physically, looking at your phone every 5 seconds and checking all your notifications. But if you're growing, if you're spending money, investing money into content, investing money into ads, a great opportunity is going to be responding immediately to any comment that you have. And with, again, something like Go High Level, I can do that automatically. So that's one simple way.
Plus that kind of feeds the algorithm too. So you mentioned earlier about personalization, and that's a really a key element to building trust in the health and wellness industry. So how can AI help us deliver more personalized experiences?
Yeah, that's a great question. Personalized. So the basic way I think about personalization, it goes back towards the idea of a chat or a messaging. That's one way to do it. To allow people to have one-on-one conversations at scale is something that you can do in a messaging context. But other than that, you think about, what do people want? Again, it really depends on the business. So if you're doing some health coaching and you have an intake form, right? And you're asking them questions and you're collecting that data. It's like, what are you doing with that data other than your initial assessment, your initial strategy? I think that data can be used to come up with more creative ways to communicate to them. What if you could take their intake information, used it to feed or customize more of your communication? Again, I don't know. I'm just kind of brainstorming here on the call, but that is definitely a use that any of your marketing, if your follow up, when people are not, maybe they're ghosting you, or they're not, getting back to you, that information can be key to further give them content and make it personalized for them. So that's one idea there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that makes me think, what we do in CRMs when somebody, for instance, clicks on a particular product or service in an email, and when we can tag them and send them more information about that. We do that in Keep all the time where,
Right.
if you're interested in this thing, here's some more information. Here's a discount on that exact thing that you were looking for. So I love that idea. What about the financial benefits of AI? How can an AI adoption help us save money?
Yeah. I mean, I know for me, one of the things I love to do is speak. That's the way I get most of my business. I get out there, I'm on stages, and that's my thing. That's how I get my customers. But the headache has been I get a video. Now I need to take that video and repurpose it and slice it up and, put the captions on it and do all these kind of things to be cool, on TikTok and Reels and all that work. And so again, as you learn about what AI can do, some of these things that you've been spending, and again, you can't do everything. So you have to outsource, you have to go to Upwork or Fiverr or hire people. But there are some things such as that's one of my biggest ways I've saved money because I've got a guy who builds and edits video for me. But there are tools out there that can take long form video and automatically turn it into 20, 30 clips. They can be used. So a lot of the social media and the organic content that's time and energy heavy that you typically want to spend and hire someone to do. Some of that can be done with AI. So it's like as you learn what it can do, and as you compare that to what you're already spending or what you're already investing into, that's kind of when you realize that I can start doing a little bit more myself. And I do have a caveat that when you use AI to do something for you, I always say you need to use AI to replicate things that you are very confident in, that you know really well. Like you don't use AI to do something you've never done before. So, and if you don't know it, so you need like a marketing expert to work with you to use AI for marketing campaigns. So there's like the caveat, like, so I've had people come to me saying, hey, I've got this AI. I want to use AI to make phone calls, to do telemarketing. I'm like, are you already doing telemarketing now? Do you have scripts? Do you understand TCPA and the compliance laws? Like, no. I say, so if you don't understand the world of telemarketing, then I'd say you don't want to use AI to do telemarketing. Same way with marketing. Like if you don't understand the journey or how do you even analyze if AI is doing a good job for you? So there is that caveat that if you are an expert in an area, then you can use AI to streamline, to speed up, to enhance what you're doing. Yeah. But if they don't know about, story brand, they may want to work with you and you can like say, I got some ideas, but you want to partner with an expert who's going to guide it. But in your health area, in your area of expertise, whether there's some kind of diabetes prescriptions or things like that, or the human or the mental health, you can leverage your expertise and save time and save money. And you could ask ChatGPT, tell me the cognitive behavior therapy strategy, because you're using that jargon, you're using those terms, and you're going to craft something very specific for your people based upon your expertise, if that makes sense. But that's going to, it's going to save you time, save you money. You don't have to buy a bunch of books and research and go over all these things. If you understand those things, then you can kind of formulate strategies and campaigns and prescriptions or ideas in that way.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And I've often heard it said that, generative AI is like an intern. Like you have to be able to guide it and show it what to do and then check its work afterward to make sure that it's spot on. So that analogy made a lot of sense to me. So, and we talked about this a minute ago, but for practitioners who are sort of worried about the learning curve here, like you talk about a lot of things that are at a very high level. And you mentioned, you're already using AI, whether you realize it or not. Most of the tools that you have some sort of AI built into it. But how can they start intentionally integrating AI without feeling overwhelmed or feeling like they need extensive technical knowledge? And I think that's a barrier to entry for some people.
Yeah, again. So, I mean, my book tries to just give you a high level view. And then when it comes to actually taking it to the next step, I recommend joining maybe an AI community. I recommend, again, I mentioned that podcast earlier. I mean, there's so many people with AI courses, so I can't, and everybody's got their prompts and prompt guides and things like that. But to me, again, when it comes to health and wellness, again, I don't know of a health and wellness AI community, but there probably is one. Because again,
we should start one.
Might as well. But that is, you need to be around people who live it. And again, like I said, even I feel like I get behind. I feel like I don't know enough. But again, I'm in 2 communities or 3 communities where other people, and I see what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I get my ideas from my AI communities and from a couple of different podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no shortcut. It is moving really, really fast. And that is kind of a word of caution in the sense that when the internet came out in the 90s, it took years before it really began to disrupt, and it did disrupt. I think AI is moving a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
You can make AI say whatever you want, and it's just so that's kind of not a disclaimer or a danger, but it's going to move really quick. So I do encourage owners, especially business people, to stay connected, and you have to try it or delegate it to somebody and have them report to you on a regular basis.
Yeah. And kind of on that note, what kind of common mistakes have you seen? What should we avoid as we're adopting AI? And what can we learn from what you've seen people do wrong?
Yeah. First one, as I mentioned before, you don't use it to do something you've never done. Not that it won't work, but that's too far out. Use it to replicate what you've done in the past. Number 2, yes, spend a little bit of time in ChatGPT, but also Google and find out because ChatGPT isn't like an automation. It isn't a system. And so you do it. It does something, and then you have to go back to your own platform. Look for tools and automations, almost I call it niche apps that are powered by AI, but they have the integration. So it can go into your workflow in a more of a seamless way that I think you'll get more benefit from that versus trying to become the best prompt engineer. And when you use a tool that already has AI built into it, all that prompt engineering is already built into it. So I think that'll save you time as well. Number 3, never try to trick people. Some people say, I want AI I don't know. There's just some misconceptions about, I want to make an AI chat or voice or thing to like be so real that people don't know it's real. And I highly warn against that. You don't have to make a big deal out of it because the goal is to give people what they need to serve your people fast, but you just don't want to trick them. So depending on what you're trying to do, you want to disclose, especially any type of automation, type of chat situation, that you let them know, I'm an AI assistant for Jennifer, but I'm here to give you your report, whatever it is, but you want to disclose, what you're doing. And then again, the last one is always keep the human in the loop, always double check. Don't assume, and there's a lot of assumption that if it's AI, it's technology, it's going to work. I can automate this and make money while I sleep, and it can run on its own. And that's a big danger. You want to always review it. You want to stay in the loop. You want to see what's happening, and don't just turn off your brain and think that's all automated.
Yeah, that's great advice. All right, Arvell, it's time for another quick break. We're going to be right back after this. Hey, Salt Nation, you're listening to the Worth Your Salt podcast. I'm Jennifer Orechwa, and today I'm talking with Arvell Craig, conversational AI evangelist and author of the AI Strategy Playbook. We'd love to hear your thoughts on how you're leveraging AI to scale your practice. So be sure to join Salt Marketing over on Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook, and tell us about your experiences implementing AI. So, Arvell, looking ahead to the near future, what trends do you see in AI that will kind of impact how we as entrepreneurs run and grow our businesses over the next few years?
Trends. I think what a lot of the bigger companies are trying to create, they're kind of like creating more automations. Because again, like I mentioned earlier, you can go into ChatGPT or Google's Gemini or Claude or all these other ones and do some stuff. But then you have to go back into your regular world and work in your business. But they're trying to create more automations. They call them agents. So that's going to be a huge disruption when you can say, go into ChatGPT and not just ask it for an article, but you can say, I want you to write an article and then create 20 tweets and the social media and the images and schedule this for the next 30 days. And all of that is done and all in ChatGPT.
Crazy.
Something like that. Or, and I actually keep a list of ideas that I wish AI could do this. AI will be able to click and drag your mouse and do things on your computer and follow any instructions that you want.
Wow.
Now, what does that look like? What type of permissions or safety and data privacy? That's to be determined. But the technology is already being developed. And I'm saying within a year or sooner, that's going to be more and more possible.
Mm.
So that's like to me, that's one of the biggest trends that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But again, on a health and wellness perspective, I do think on the opposite side that the need for people to connect in a human way is going to be more valuable. There's a phrase, scale the unscalable. Gary Vee says it. Alex Hormozi says it. It's like we want to use technology to scale, to do more for us. And that's cool. But there is an advantage to doing things that are more human. The real is going to be more valued. So even your flaws, even, so the need for perfection and trying to do things right, I think there's going to be a contrast that people can do. That's going to be important, again, in the near future, because again, anything online may or may not be trusted. And so it's going to be important for people to really grow their brand, to, again, like I said, scale the unscalable, make a real phone call and really talk to people. How do you increase that human connection in the context when everything else is synthetic and may not be real?
Well, and I remember a couple of years back, the Drift folks put out a book called This Won't Scale. And it was all about that human element, because the conversational AI that they were putting out there, it didn't really have that human element to it. At least that's what people were thinking. So how can we leverage our distinct human capabilities? As AI continues to evolve, how do you see that relationship between AI tools and human practitioners developing?
It's interesting. Yeah. I mean, the way I see it is, as AI does more and more and more for you, it allows you the opportunity to personally process, what do you really care about? What really matters? What makes you more unique? And if each person is going to be different, as AI can take things off your plate, to me, the goal isn't just to sit by the beach and do nothing. The goal is for you to kind of like tap into your own mind and imagination, and you can begin to brainstorm things that you never thought was possible.
Yeah.
And I know Ethan Malik. Okay. So he's like one of the main thought leaders when it comes to AI. And I remember he had these 4 questions. What useful thing you do is no longer valuable? Just to think about that. And then what impossible thing can you do now with AI? Number 3 is, what can you move to a wider market or democratize because of AI? And then number 4, what can you move up market or personalize? So those 4 questions are things to think through and brainstorm as AI does more and more and more. Yeah. But you're going to have to think to yourself, what new opportunities are opening up? And how can you save time doing things you don't have to?
Yeah. Those are really thought-provoking questions. I would also add to that, what ethical considerations should we have around AI, particularly in health and wellness? Is there anything we should, and you said a minute ago, don't try and fake people out, be upfront about this, but are there ethical considerations that we need to take into account?
Yeah. I mean, that is, it's a lot of it's going to be that disclosure. I do think as you use AI and if it's going to be used in a customer facing place, you're going to want to come up with an AI policy. If you go to my website, I have it as a sample in my site where I say, this is what I do. And if we see an email with Arvell Plus, that's my little symbol to saying this was AI generated content. So you need to come up with your own policy, but there's going to be laws about what information can you use from your customer. I mentioned earlier that you can take that intake form and use it to give them a better experience. But there may be a need from a disclosure that they know this is how you're using the information, and they need to give you permission. So that's I think a lot of it's going to deal with data privacy and making sure that they understand how you're using their information in general, so that they have your trust that it's not going to be used in any type of way that they don't feel appropriate.
Yeah, those are good thoughts. So tell us a little bit more about the AI Strategy Playbook resources that you have available at wheredoiai.com. You mentioned the policy. How can we find those, and how do we benefit from them?
After you get the book, there is a QR code that does go to the website. And I have a list because in the book, I mentioned different sites and different tools, and I'm always adding to that list. So I have a list of different resources that can do different things, from turning not just, turning your audio into newsletters, turning newsletters into podcasts. There's so many different things that AI can do. Yes, I do have a sample of a policy, but it's on the site. I think if you sign up, there's a little small survey and a questionnaire, and then it should take you to those resources. Again, I've got a a friend who does some security and cybersecurity when it comes to AI. So depending on the level of the company and what they need, I have a list of other like friends and trusted resources that I try to provide, because one of the things that can be overwhelming, because AI can create AI and AI is creating apps, there's so many different tools that sometimes you need someone to kind of curate the tools and make sure that you're not trying something new every week and not just, so I do kind of try to step up and only share tools that I've used that I know work.
Yep. Keep us off from those shiny objects, right?
Exactly.
And for our audience, of course, links to get your copy of the AI Strategy Playbook, to Arvell's LinkedIn profile, as well as the ways you can connect with him, will be available on our website at saltmarketing.co. But right now, Arvell, it is time for our lightning round questions. These are a few quick questions that I like to ask of every guest. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. First question is, what's something about you that surprises people?
I would say surprise people when I talk about running marathons and ultramarathons, running 50 miles through the mountains of Denver a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That was kind of crazy. So that always surprises people.
That's definitely a conversation point there.
Yeah.
So the next question is, what is your favorite thing about the work that you do?
I would say at this stage in life, it's more about who I am. And I think as you grow, I'm in my 40s, so I'm just comfortable in my own skin. And because of that, it's who I am when it comes to what I do. That's the best thing about, I guess, this stage in life.
That's nice. I like that. All right. Next question. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
This is a tough one. I got a lot of advice. I read a lot. But my granddad, for years, he always told me, save your money.
That is good. That is good advice.
It's all he said. But it's constant and it rings in my ear. That's the best advice.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Last question. Who is inspiring you right now? What podcast are you listening to? What's the best book you've read recently?
Different ones. So I'm getting inspired. I would say Alex Hormozi and his podcast is inspiring. But the book I'm reading now multiple times is called The Last Word on Power. By Tracy Goss. It's from the 90s. It's blowing my mind.
Okay. I'm fully immersed in Alex, but I'll have to go check out that book. Arvell, thank you so much for joining me for this week's episode of Worth Your Salt.
Yeah. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you.
I also want to thank you, Salt Nation. If you have a great success story, I'd love to talk with you and share your story with our audience. So tell us about why you're worth your salt by emailing us at grow@saltmarketing.co. Of course, be sure to subscribe to Worth Your Salt so you never miss an episode. Leave us a review or give the show a handful of stars wherever you get your content. That's all for this episode of Worth Your Salt. Be sure to join me again next time. In the meantime, let's get out there and shake things up.